work without Lonzo Ball. Lonzo was benched for the entire fourth quarter after struggling with his shot again. He made just 3 of his 10 attempts and finished with 7 points. Jordan Clarkson took most of Lonzo's minutes and led the Lakers with 25 points. After the game, Luke Walton explained his decision to bench Lonzo.
So you stick with Clarkson and Brewer, and they both make plays down the stretch. What's that like for you when you're trying to think, gosh, should I put guys back in? Should I reward the guys that are staying? How do you do that?
It's tough, and it's a feel thing. Obviously, Zoe's ability to play the game and run that point spot for us. There's a couple times I was one play away from putting him back in, and one of those guys would make a play. We're a team, and it shouldn't really matter who's out there. It's going to be different people each night, and we should all be happy for the guys that do get that chance.
How do you feel about a game like this? Obviously, you weren't on the court in the fourth quarter, but I know how much you like to win. How do you feel after a game like this one?
I mean, we got to win, so I got no complaints. Teammates got it done, in the fourth, and we're happy to at least get one on this road trip.
You just had a triple-double, your first ever triple-double. And then here in this game, obviously that unit was going, but you're not in there in the fourth.
I mean, we got the win, so, everything worked out. So, like I said, I got no complaints, and, JC was hot, so I would have rolled with him too.
Skip, was it a good move or a bad move to bench Lonzo?
By the way, this kid always says the right thing. That was exactly what you should have said after what happened on the court.
What would LeVar say?
Well, I'm waiting for what LeVar's going to say today.
Okay.
Because I think we're going to get a blast from LeVar about this. And I must admit, I watched this game start to finish, had it on. Some of it crossed over the LeBron game. But I didn't love what Luke Walton did to this kid in the fourth quarter because he has enough trouble already, thanks in large part to his father, for his new head coach, to give the media even more ammunition with which to criticize Lonzo Ball. And he did a lot of nice things early on in this game. He made 4 or 5 nice plays. His numbers were starting to climb. He would have had decent numbers if he had played the whole fourth quarter. He's the second pick in the draft, and you just can't shut him out the whole fourth quarter. And I get what Luke is saying. They had it going. They're playing a bad team. It's on the road in Phoenix. Obviously, they beat them there the first time when Lonzo just took the whole game over, and he went, 29, 11, and 9,
yep.
and made 3 straight big late closing shots, one right in Tyson Chandler's face to close the deal. So you've got to let him have a shot in the fourth quarter to ease into the closer role. And Jordan Clarkson had it going, as he called him, JC, but it wasn't like he was lighting it up. I mean, Kyle Korver scored 19 in the fourth quarter at Madison Square Garden, and Jordan Clarkson scored 6 in the fourth quarter at Phoenix. So, as Luke said, he just wanted to win the game, and there was always like one play away from, I'm going to put him back in. And by the way, KCP was also on the bench for the fourth quarter, so he just benched 2 starters and thought this new lineup, it had it going, it had a little bit of an edge over the Phoenix Suns. And he finally said, you know what, one play away, and then Jordan Clarkson or Kuzma or somebody.
Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer was he had a great night the first time they played at Phoenix, and he had another very good night on offense and defense. And he said, I'm going to ride this hot hand or this group's hot hand to a victory. And I still think this Laker team is very good. They're just a game out of the playoffs as we speak. And if they'd won those 2 games at home that they should have won, they would be in the playoffs at this point. It's very early. But in the end, I think it's just up to Luke Walton to protect the kid by playing a little bit in the fourth quarter, let him finish the last 3 minutes. You can say, well, don't put him in a position to blow another lead, but I just don't think he would have in this case in this building.
I think it was a great move because the coach sometimes, and like he said, you have to go by feel. What does your gut tell you? Again, last night, Skip, who was plus minus? Lonzo Ball. Skip, think about this.
But I've shown you a lot of games where he was all the plus. He led the team.
How about this? The Lakers are the only NBA team that have 7 players that average double figures. Lonzo Ball isn't one of them. We keep talking about his feelings. His daddy said, you think what I say gonna bother Lonzo? He been waiting for this moment all his life. So why all of a sudden are you worried about his feelings? His daddy says he's made of the right stuff. So should we be concerned?
I'll bet Magic Johnson would have an issue with his not playing the fourth quarter.
I don't think Magic will. I think Magic Johnson, knowing Magic Johnson, the little bit that I know him and been around him, he value winning more than who's playing. And Luke Walton felt that the roster, that the team that he had on the court at that time, gave him the best opportunity to win. We saw this last year in the playoffs, remember? Kyrie was on the bench. Him and Kevin Love, when LeBron made that comeback against Indiana and made another one against Toronto. But we ain't talking about Bron. We talking about Lonzo.
I can show you a lot of times when LeBron was on the bench. In fact, he was on the bench last night when they made a little run at the end of the third quarter.
But
what about that?
Little run. Okay, they cut it from 17 to 15. Started the fourth quarter. Okay, but we talking about Lonzo right now. Skip. Again, Lonzo is shooting 31% from the floor, 25% from three this season, and in the fourth quarter, he's 0 for 11 from three. So what I'm supposed to do with that, Skip? How do I
close? He's the orchestrator. He's the distributor.
The best player on the team right now happens to play the very position that Lonzo Ball plays. JC, as they said, Jordan Clarkson, is currently their best player. He happens to play the point guard. He's more assertive. He's more certain of himself. He's just a better player right now. I'm not projecting 3 years. I'm not projecting 5 years. I'm saying right now, Luke Walton is trying to stack wins. If Lonzo is tough mentally as his dad says he is, this should be no problem. Skip, I'm trying to win games, not friends.
Okay. So it was a Friday night, so you probably didn't watch it, but did you happen to catch any of the highlights of the fourth quarter the first time around at Phoenix?
Yes.
Eric Bledsoe was a Phoenix Sun, and Lonzo Ball torched Eric Bledsoe for 29 total, not always against Eric, but 29 points. And down the stretch, within the last 3 minutes of the game, he scored 3 big baskets. Let's see, all 3 of them with his left hand driving to the glass. Took the whole game over and closed the deal. So is that enough to get him just a couple of minutes in the fourth quarter?
No.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question.
And by the way, just the other night, LeBron congratulated him. He had a triple-double. He was the youngest ever to have a triple-double, and then he sits for a whole fourth quarter. You like that? I don't like that. I don't like it.
In the process,
that's in your face, Lonzo Ball.
In the process of that triple-double, can you tell the people at home what happened?
Well, they're playing a hot Milwaukee team that had just crushed my Spurs in San Antonio.
Oh, look, that same Milwaukee team that LeBron beat down the other night? Oh, my bad. Oh, but
7-7.
Whoa, yeah, and they beat the Bucks, who crushed the Lakers. Oh, my bad. I don't
it wasn't a crush. It was like an 8-point game.
Skip.
They were in the game.
At the end of the day, it's about wins and losses, and you got to put a roster on you got to put a team on the floor that you feel that gives you the best chance to win. I get it. He's the second pick in the draft, and there's a lot of hoopla about this young man. But right now, Skip, he's not their best option to lead this team in the fourth quarter.
I disagree with that. I've seen him lead it in other fourth quarters. I just don't think you can do that to the second pick in the draft.
Skip. His dad,
I don't like it.
His dad said, "You don't worry about what I'm saying." Lonzo made of the right stuff.
Well,
you think?
So Luke Walton just opened a door that Shannon Sharp ran right through. I got you. Right?
No, that plus minus got me walking through that door. Him shooting 31% from the floor got me walking through that door. 25% from the three had me taking a seat on the couch of the door that was open.
Really?
Yeah.
That first game in Phoenix, it should have slammed that door.
Hold on. Whoa. How many games have they played? And you only talking about one? Well, what about the first game?
First game where?
The first game of the year.
In LA.
They played a bad Clippers team that's struggling. Yeah. They got wiped out. That was their worst game. That was the only bad game they played the whole year.
But how many bad games have Lonzo played?
He does a lot of things you can't see in here.
Well, damn, something wrong with my eyes?
Yeah.
He always says the right thing, though. Was last night the turning point for the Cavs? We'll discuss that next.
I don't know. Was it?